Welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast, where we speak about all things related to spirituality, soul level healing, intuitive guidance, frequencies, and much more. I'm Amy Sikarskie, licensed vocational nurse, past life hypnotherapist, master intuitive energy healer, and a clairvoyant physical channel. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Spirit School Online, where we offer courses in energy therapy, free guided meditations, courses and information around learning to connect in with your spirit guides, and much more. You can find me at amysikarskie.com and offerings at spiritschoolonline.com. Hi, and welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. I'm Amy Sikarskie, and I'm really happy to be here with you today, and just so grateful that you have found this podcast and are tuning in. And I hope that throughout all of the episodes, that the messages, information, and insights provide comfort, support, a place of healing and love. And I'm just here to share with you my experiences. These are experiences that I have had personally, and potentially I'll be sharing conversations that I've had with others. And the aspect that I focus on is the soul approach, the soul level awareness, consciousness, and healing. So when we see things that are trials or challenging in life, I tend to go and say, okay, what can we learn from this? Or how do we resolve it? And really find the source, find the information, the source moment or reason, or, rather than putting a Band-Aid on, really trying to heal at the initial cause of time or location. And this can be a location physically on the earth plane, like a city or a country, but it can also be a location in the energy field, a location in consciousness, a time that was in this life or a time in a past life. So as I'm welcoming you and I'm really, really excited for this podcast, I have some episodes in the queue ready to share, and my heart is bursting wide open. And so as I've been working on the behind the scenes and getting everything organized and ready, I have been just feeling an intense increase of happiness, joy, and this vibrational flow of abundance, meaning abundance of love, abundance of friendship, abundance of happiness. And I feel that this podcast is going to be so blessed by all of you and our energies coming together and helping to support one another and make a shift or hold space for a shift, really. And as we are going through our own inner experiences. And I understand that many of you work with others throughout your life, whether it's in a profession where you are helping others to heal or sharing channeled messages, or if you're working in your own inner life, if you're changing the DNA, healing your local community, working with family, close friends, every gift that you have is so important, so magical, and so pertinent to this time right now, to this life right now, and why you are here, why you are on earth. So if you're feeling a bit like you're struggling or you're floating or you're in a stall, if you're questioning your purpose and your reason, I just want to remind you that you are a beautiful being of light. You are so divine. Your energy, your intelligence, your support and wisdom is here. And you incarnated in with all of this. It's like you are the complete package. Don't ever doubt yourself. You can feel into decisions and moments, and you can feel into timelines. But know that you are gifted, you are strong, you are vibrant, you are incredible. Incredible. And we are so blessed, so lucky to have you here on earth and in this community. So I want to thank you as we get started. Just thank you for sharing your light and for being you. And my heart is just so happy. And I really look forward to all of the connections. I really look forward to sharing with you some very deep inner world and outer world experiences and how they come together, how spirit and soul meets the human reality, and how we actually can embody with our conscious awareness increasing, our light body activations coming online, our remembrance of who we are at a soul level, our remembrance of our purpose, our mission, and the light codes that we're holding. They all ignite and they come, and you can feel them percolate, bubbling up, expanding from your heart. And when you feel that, you know you've connected in. You know you're in connection with your higher self, with your spirit team, with God, with source energy. So I encourage you to take all the time that you need for any integration, for any healing, for this episode and all that follow. If you need to pause, listen again, rewind like we're like we're back in the 80s, rewind the tape, hit the back button, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever it might be, but really honor your moments with integration and with the messages that come through, not only in this podcast, but in life. Because right now we are in the thick of it. We are in those pivotal moments. It's not like they're coming or they're igniting and they're starting. We are actually here right now, stabilizing and holding it. And if I can recall correctly, I feel like it was 2018, 2019, when I was channeling in messages like, oh, get ready, it's all going to make sense. This energy is increasing. We're getting ready to shift timelines, new dimensional experiences, and then boom. Right? So 2020, 2021, 2022, and on. So now we are here. We are shifting. We are holding space. We're shifting within ourselves. We're preparing. And there will be some, I'm hearing drastic, significant, important, and magnificent changes happening on the earth plane in this dimensional reality. So, welcome, dear friends. Again, I'm Amy. I'm so happy to have you here and to join. I'm really, really excited. And this morning, as I was getting ready, I was thinking, in my own little mind, in my own little world, I am going through an integration of my own. I'm processing some information. And what's interesting to me is it's probably 10% mental. I'm thinking about it, 10% of what's actually happening. And I don't want to say behind the scenes because it is ever so present. However, it's in the energetic body, the energetic field, the quantum space. And so I feel like a great start is just to get real raw and share with you a very personal experience. I don't know the words, how deep I'll get with the details because it is so personal. But I do know that you will understand, and it's my hope that you'll receive inspiration, an aha moment, a message of healing, and can feel the love. Like it really can be a vulnerable space to share my personal experiences. I think we all have that. But I really honestly feel that one of my reasons for being here is to break down barriers of separation. And I feel like when we try and be so perfect and we pretend or we act like we're not struggling or we have human experiences, that's a disservice. So I'm putting my heart out there and sharing with you so much. And I know if you've heard these words, if this message has reached you, that there's a reason. And so whatever that might be, I honor you and I honor the moment and the reasons. And I want to thank you again for being here. So a few weeks ago, energy started shifting, and I feel like we're all sensing that. Right now, so much has changed in the government systems and the collective, and there's an opening of energy. So some of the restrictions were released with the FAA and flying, and I missed it by a couple of days, guys. I just missed it by a few days. I returned from a trip, and then within a week, the the news that no more masks on the planes here in the United States came out. And I was like, oh man. But my husband went on a trip. So he got to experience it, I think like 2 days after. And he was sharing with me how incredible it was. And everybody's demeanor has changed. It's like I doubt somebody booked their ticket 2 days beforehand. So it wasn't like they were anticipating it, right? And so you had people who were already planning a trip. And surprise, all of this oppression, this fear, all of these rules and regulations are lifted, which allows for more sovereignty, autonomy, and clarity. Honestly, clarity. Because when you put a physical or an energetic object over any of your chakras, it can close it down. So having the openness and the awareness, that shifted. And then a couple days later, I went to the store for the first time, and the whole energy of the space has just brightened. It's just brightened, and it feels like a new life, a new experience. And it really, as an empathic, sensitive person, really just caught my awareness and attention. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. We are so strong. The collective is so strong, and we don't even realize it. And our combined energetic response to something, whatever it might be, is powerful. All this time, those of us who have been struggling, I hope have been able to find support, comfort, love, peace from their oversoul, from God, from their guides, from friends, from the collective energy. And those of us that were having a great day, I just want to thank you so much for holding that space, because we all go through a flow, a process, a cycle, and everybody's experience, while there are some common aspects, is very, very individual. So a few days ago, I was falling asleep like I do really late because I had been working on some fun projects. And I got this message that I really need to go book a session with my local energy therapist, my healer. And I was like, what? Oh, I'm feeling good. No, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go to sleep. So the next night, same thing, right? Right as I'm about to go to sleep, I heard this little message. And the way that the message comes for all of us is different. So the way that our guides, our spirit, soul self speaks to us is different. In this moment, in my just relaxed space, it was a flash of a memory. I saw her name, I saw my calendar, I saw her website. Like, oh, it's been a minute, but I've been feeling pretty good. So I was like, okay, well, I've been down this road enough that when I get a sign, I need to follow it. I heard it very clearly. The message was very clear. It already repeated twice. I'm saying to myself, well, we don't need a third repeat. I don't need to hear this 3 times. Let's book the session so I can go to sleep. So here I go on. I think it was like a Sunday, and I booked my session, and she had something available for Tuesday, which was such a gift because, as you all know, sometimes it's hard to get in. People book out, and I happened to have an opening that exact time on Tuesday. So I go to my appointment, and so many magical things were happening along the way. I was waiting for some information. There had been emails I was debating. Like, I kept feeling like, oh, one's going to come through, maybe not. And it did. And I also felt just so joyful in my heart because I had stepped out of a couple of sessions to go to my own session. So the energy of the day was amazing. I felt very supported. And as I was driving to her place, I could feel my energy shift and my heart just burst wide open. It's one of those days where you feel so connected, and I could feel the light codes. I could feel the sun and the love come in. And so when I went to see her, she's asking me, so what brought you in today? Is there anything specific to work on? And I was just like, I just got the message I'm supposed to be here. So I'll let her do her magic and tune in and find out kind of, where it leads and what we're led to. What is the reason? What is the significance of the day and that moment? So as she's setting the space and the energy's coming in, I start getting flashbacks of memories of this life. I start seeing experiences that I've had, and people, their names flash in front of me, or places will pop up in front of me. all different ages, all different aspects of life. And so I asked her, I was like, okay, this is what I'm getting. This is what's coming up. There's obviously some energy that's not processed fully, even though it was like years ago, right? So what's going on? Because I felt I was doing pretty good. And, but that's one thing I want to stress. Healing is like an ongoing situation. We're always in a space to receive healing and take it to the next level, advance and go deeper. And I feel that we pace ourselves. Spirit helps us. We pace ourselves. If it's really intense, hopefully you don't ever feel that just gets stacked and bombarded, where more and more moments in this reality hit you at the same time. So if you ever need to take time for self-care and integration, it's all you need to say and share with your friends and family. Hey, I'm taking some integration time. I'm going through a transition, a shift, a healing. I'm not going to be so available. I'll let you know. Give me a few days, give me a few weeks, whatever you need. But so what happened was I just shared with her, okay, well, I'm having this memory, tune into it. And she tuned into it and would share with me what she saw in my energy field and the vibration about it. And we worked with that. And as she was working, I was getting messages at the same time in my head. And sometimes it was like I was having a conversation with whoever would have been in that time and space back in the past. And our souls were speaking, and we were working things out from a soul level. And to say that it was all rainbow and butterflies might not be accurate. I did feel a lot of my oversoul come in, as if, it's like you're hearing yourself speaking in your head. But actually it was out in my aura, but you hear it in your mind. And I could see it with my eyes closed in my energy field. We were speaking. And there's a little bit of like anger, some stuff in there that I felt I didn't get to say. So it wasn't that it was like aggressive or anything, but I did feel that I got to share and share what I needed to say. Like, this was not okay, that kind of a thing, like I gave you a pass, but just so you know that I wasn't cool with what happened, like that whole thing, and set some boundaries. So at the same time, it was exceptionally healing because it was received and I got to hear messages, and I felt that they got to hear messages, and it was a full communication in spirit. So higher level, soul energy, higher dimension speaking, the oversouls communicating. And some contracts were closed out, some were released. It was like, oh, I could cry, I can feel it. It was like a sacred honoring of our time together. Because before we came here, we all agreed to play roles for one another. And it was just magical to see that we had completed our agreement. And no matter where life takes us, on different paths, different frequencies, different perspectives, that it was all based in love. So even if the human life gets involved, the 3D, matrixy stuff, we can heal and move forward and have that soul level healing. So this went on and on and on for about like 4 or 5 memories and experiences. And then I was so intrigued. I'm like, why is this coming up? And so she tuned into the connection between all of these moments, these experiences, these relationships. And there was one common theme. There were a lot of themes that overlapped, but there was one main significant common theme. And I'll share that with you in just a moment. But what I want to say to that is, when you're an intuitive healer and you're working with others, we understand, like, we hold that space. It's such a sacred space. It's such like an honor. It's very humbling to have others trust you and to be able to connect in with spirit and feel all their guides and angels come around. And in those moments, as the healer, you're you're alert, you're there, you're conscious, and you're that medium, that liaison, that interpreter, the translator, back and forth, the channel. You're the channel, of course. So as a recipient, it was so nice to relax and not try and look or ask questions or, like do anything. So I just received, and whatever came to me was straight from source, straight from my soul. And she was looking around and she could describe to me the effects, what that experience left, the imprint, or what is happening in my energy body. And in this particular healing session, it was all in my aura, like barely. I mean, there was a little bit of a tap into a couple chakras with one experience, but it was all in my aura. And the significance of that is when something's more in your aura than your chakras, it's like you don't have a full awareness of it where it's bothering you or playing out in a very enhanced, conscious way, like a really contrasting conscious way throughout the day. It's kind of like, it's subconscious. It's behind the scenes. It's in the energy field. So unless somebody or an experience happens that activates that, because it's so similar, you kind of just go throughout life feeling that you're good. Like, I'm whole, I'm healed, I'm amazing, I'm having a great day, all of this. So in this moment when we worked with every individual memory that came up. And then we also worked with the overall, like how they were all connected and speaking and communicating to one another in my system. And she told me, she's like, oh girl, there's some pretty deep, very significant energy here to heal and clear. And she gave me the choice if I want to work with it or not, because she knew, first of all, that I would be very tuned into it. And second of all, any of us that have these deep level healings, it can create such a shift, and it can be super emotional. And it's not like, okay, yay, I'm going to hop off the table and we're good. No. There's an integration process. There is an integration period, and it's very individualized how we process and how we respond, how open we are to that experience. So at first I was like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, there is so much going on. Things feel good right now. Do I really want to? Gosh. And then I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, I do. Obviously, I'm here for a reason. It's coming up for a reason. I feel it can be very challenging, but I know every ounce of my being, it's so important. So in this moment, she tuned in deeper, took her time, accessed a lot of information. The energy was, she described it how I feel like we all often can see it as intuitives, that it's like a movie, a reel, the old movie reels, the film, back in the day when we had film, just flying by. So you might very quickly see snippets of scenes. And she was going back, seeing all kinds of past life moments. And she told me, she's like, ooh, this is intense. And I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. So what could I feel? I felt areas in my body physically activate, like a pressure, a heaviness, a pinch, a warmth, a tingle. Like I was feeling so much. And I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. Okay, share. Let me know. And I think one benefit to that, first of all, I was just curious, right? This is the work I do. Like, I want to know the details. But also for all of us, when your conscious mind hears something from your past life or past in this life, a trauma that you've suppressed, it gives it the opportunity to connect in and recognize, oh, like you just go through layers of, oh, okay, that's why I was feeling this way. Oh, I didn't know about that. Wow, no wonder. And how's that going to shift in my life now? So when she started to share with me, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And what she told me was that in these past lives, I have very similar situations with some of the same people, even, which I found surprising because they're not in my inner circle. It's just like people that you meet, and it's like, oh, hey, we had a past life together. But when she was mentioning that, it felt so true. I'm like, okay, and it makes so much sense. She was telling me the common themes, and some of them were dealing with like speaking your truth and the inquisitions and being persecuted and betrayed and safety, like physical safety. And I was like, oh my goodness, that makes so much sense. Like the little rumblings, the little overlays playing out in this life. And I'm still integrating, I'm still processing. I remember memories as a child, how I would perceive the world or gently step into a situation. I was really quiet. And now I'm more, I share a little bit more. And I think that's also the evolution, the development of, oh, Amy, look, you're in a different time and space. You might hear people's opinions, or, obviously not everyone's going to be on the same page or agree with what I do. But for the most part, like it's safe and it's okay. And there are others like you that need to hear your messages, that will be blessed because it will support them and they will understand they're not alone. And honestly, I know that this experience with these past lives, this timeline unraveling, like the real of all the time, was a bit new to me. I can't recall another moment or memory where I have tuned into that. So mostly all of my other experiences were where I was in my power, where I was healing, where I was helping, where I was blessing, or where I was just like an average person. I hadn't really seen many where I had been persecuted. And as she sat there holding space, I don't know all the details of what she did, because at that point I could feel the energy intensify around me. And as she was healing, one thing that she was brought through was some healing light to feel the voids, because it had actually taken a part of my energy away. Like there was a big gap and out in a high dimensional field of my energy signature that she was able to tune into. And as she was charging up my aura, I just drifted away. I could feel it was so lovely. All of a sudden, like I could cry now thinking about it. I just felt so full, connected even more. Like I didn't think I could be more connected. I was pretty clear going in. All the messages claircognitively, clairvoyantly were coming to me. My clairsentient ability, my heart chakra was, in fact, she's like, whoa, your heart's wide open. I'm like, yeah, I just got a little gift on my way here, some awesome news. I'm so like feeling the love of it all. And she kind of had to like just focus it a little bit. It was like expanded out in my whole aura. But anyways, the whole experience was very significantly clear to me. And I felt like I was coming back online. My energy's amplified. I'm more present. I'm more aware. That's how I'm feeling now. But in the moment, I was seeing pictures and I could feel it. Obviously, it was the end of my life in many of these moments. Violent endings to my life. And I could feel where it happened, how it happened in my body. And it wasn't painful. It was just enough of a knowing, like, okay. And then I was kind of like seeing pictures too. But my guides, I feel we all, like, I can only handle so much. And what do I need to know? So I'm glad I didn't see any more than what I did. Let's just leave it at that. And then I felt a strong sense of love, comfort, and peace. And when she closed my energy field, she shared how she had charged me up. And I was like, oh, I felt that. It felt amazing. So over the next few days, how I've experienced life and like right after was, oh my goodness, wow. like in such a good way. I feel so present. I feel so online. I'm not afraid. Like the little thoughts that we think to ourselves sometimes, like, oh, should I, when, how, is this the right way or approach kind of a thing? I'm like, oh no, I'm ready. So it's just perfect. And I'm ready to share. I'm ready to express. I'm ready to have conversation. I am ready to be there for y'all. And I'm so excited to take it to the next level. And this podcast is really the place that it will be starting. So throughout all of the episodes, you're going to hear topics and messages, and we're going to chat about all things related to spirit and soul, the energetic anatomy, past lives, channeling and spirit guides, probably some star seeds. I'll have some solo casts and some guests on, and my goal is to support, to inspire, to educate, to share, and to let you know you're not alone. And for those of you who are on a deepening of your own healing journey, or you are finding that it's your calling to work with others as a healer, as a reader, I really hope, I think, and I feel that you're going to find some intricate, I'm hearing like delicacies, so interesting, the words, but these really refined little gems and aspects of my experience that can assist you in your healing practice. So I'm really delighted. I'm so happy to be here. Please subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and like the podcast, share with your friends, and also message me. Let me know if there's any topics or questions that you have, and I'm totally open to tuning in and bringing through messages. So as an energy therapist and a practitioner of the healing arts, my background is a nurse. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm a master energy therapist. So I do work with mind, body, spirit, and soul. And also as a reader and a channel. I have a lot of experiences, and as that channeler, as a channel, it's really fun to see what comes through. As you just heard, a couple of unique word choices came through that were not mine, like the delicacy of it. And I think that's something that is really important to understand, that healing can be, it can be simple, but it can also be very intricate. And it can be a moment, and it can take weeks. So the integration process, it's just like if you have a deep wound or if you broke your leg. This is an analogy I like to use. If you broke your leg and you go get a cast on it, it takes some time to heal. There are things you can do to accelerate the healing. So energetically, and what you ingest into your body for support. And the same, there are tips for supporting your energetic healing, your soul level healing. So let's flow into that. So what I'm getting is when you feel that you've gone through a shift, or if everything is just too intense, and it's self-care time, okay, awesome. So eat clean foods and drink a lot of water, but make sure you get your electrolytes. You don't want to, get depleted of your electrolytes. And I'm seeing journaling, automatic writing comes from journaling. Just start journaling, and then you're going to pour your heart and soul out, and you'll feel anything that needs to come through. But also you can get clarity, even if it's just like a word, or if you wanted, sometimes I'll use Sharpies, or I guess it's highlighters, and I'll color a color, and that color holds a vibration and it has a message in it for me, and I just put it on the paper. So whether it's written words, symbols, color, whatever it might be, you can channel that out onto paper. Also working with tones. I'm hearing sacred tones, tonology. New word. Did we make that up just now? I don't know, but I like it. Tonology. Okay, I'm hearing that. So it's sacred tones. It's the combination of frequencies that activate your heart space and all of your intuitive energy centers. So your psychic channels, your chakras, and your meridians. I'm hearing sacred toning is really a way that you can resonate your energy back online. So if you're feeling a little bit off, tune into some mantras. So it can be vocals, or you can also tune into tuning forks, crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls, like chimes, any instrument that has a pure tone. So tonology, ooh, love it. Okay, so we have also sleeping, getting adequate sleep and meditation, and quiet alone time with your thoughts, resting, like not falling asleep, but resting. Envision laying on the couch or laying in a hammock. I mean, I feel that as children we had more free time than we do as adults. So I just go back to memories, just laying here relaxing. But life is super exciting as an adult. So especially when you put your own schedule out there, it's like, oh, there's so much that I want to share and do. But it's a balance. And when you are in a space of self-care, please know you are doing so much. You're creating the foundational aspect of your energy field so that you can support yourself and others. We don't want to overdo it. If you push too hard, if you try too much, it's like you can disrupt the wound as it's healing. It's kind of like the band-aid will fall off if you keep picking at it before it's time. So allow yourself quiet time without aggravation. So alone time, quiet time, or moments with those that you feel are very energetically compatible. So also, what do they have to share for us? Oh, spending time in nature. So these are just a few self-care practices, and you might find your own favorites also that you can add in, like baths or essential oils, getting a manicure, pedicure, massage, body work, whatever it might be. But just to let you know, there is an integration period and process, and we all go through seasons. And I'm excited to share this next season of my life and experiences with you. So like and subscribe again, and stay tuned for the next episode of the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. I'm Amy Sikarskie, and I'm looking forward to the future and all that's to come.